What's up, guys? Welcome back to Big Spruce Farm. So as we left you last time, Christine and I have been working on the farm for a couple of days. We got a fair amount done cleaning up around. I think we're calling it the potting shed now. I think that it is officially changed names to the potting shed because we were pretty convinced that it was mainly used as like food storage and potting shop use. Potting shed sounds pretty cool. So for right now, that's what we're going with. Interestingly, I feel like we've got some storms coming in. They're threatening. It's about 80, 85 here right now. It's not too hot today. And they're saying that we're going to get some big, nasty thunderstorms roll through. And then it's going to be like in the 60s the next couple of days, which will be fantastic. So I'm about to go up here into the second floor of the potting shed and clean it out. There is the remnants of some owls living up there. We've got the owl pellets in giant piles all over the place, which is going to be pretty nasty. So I'm about to put on a respirator and some, whatever, and try to disturb it as little as possible and get it all shoveled up and into a plastic bag and tie it up and get it out of there. And then I need to put screen mesh and some plastic. Screen mesh is going to go on the frame of the window that's upstairs. And then I'm going to put some plastic on the window itself, which is missing all of its glass. Oh, here comes the rain. Let's go inside. Let's try to quickly get this upstairs floor cleaned up, and then cover up the window so that it is animal proof. Just taking a little, get the face mask off, fresh air break. It's actually not nearly as bad up here as I thought it was going to be. It's pretty gross, but this side, the owl piles cleaned up pretty quick. I'm just starting to get a glimpse into what were sort of, I guess, grain storage bins, it looks like. They're cordoned off. There's some smaller ones and there's a bigger one. The bigger one has the chute involved in it. And you can see that they did some, they created like this truss system with like a chain for hoisting up through this hole they cut in here. So they were, I guess they were maybe hauling bags of grain up here. It's hard to say. What I can say is, listen, right there, that's where they cut the original timber frame beam out of the floor to make this hole for the hoist. So I really think that maybe even if it's cutting these boards where I need to and then reinstalling them, that putting a proper beam back in here might be the way to go, especially since we're going to remove a few from in the front. So anyway, I feel like I'm making pretty good progress. I would love to just clean this all out, but unfortunately I have this, cribbing here that covers 1/4 of my floor area. And I really, up until now, have not been able to see in there very well. It's actually not that bad. I thought, God, who knows what's going to be in there, but it turns out it's not that gross. So I'm going to take a quick break and grab some water, and then we're going to get right back to it. I think I can get this done in the next couple of hours. So let's keep going. Also, just real quick, Interesting thing to note that it's hard to know when some of the, I think this has been built and changed over the years, but you will see that this is all put together with cut nails. So I don't actually know what that means. I know that that means it's past a certain date when they started like forging round nails. But yeah, all built with cut nails as far as the cribbing goes. So we're gonna get back to doing the general cleanup and the deconstruction of these, this interior wall here in a minute. But before it gets away from me, there's something I wanna do. So this is all gonna kind of need to be redone, but what I can do real quick is just deconstruct, deconstruct this window a little bit. There's nothing in this window. It's just it's just a window frame and it's barely hanging on. But what I can do, let me see what I got here. A couple of weird nails I'm going to get rid of. All right, that looks okay. That can be pulled out. I don't know, this probably went to part of the frame at some point. I don't want to actually do too much to it because I don't want to break anything. I want it to stay in place for now. But what I have is a piece of 1/4-inch mesh wire. This, let me see how we're going to do this. I'm going to trim this down a little more. All right, so let's see if we can put this up on the inside, which will keep me from having to get up on a ladder out there for now. Make this pretty flat so that hopefully I can still fit my window. All right, yeah. Right. I'm definitely gonna have to trim this. I measured it for fitting on the outside nicely, not on the inside. So again, I think this will be one of those sort of good enough situations where if I can keep, actually, let me see if I can do this. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. That's not perfect, but that's pretty good. Let's see if this window will sit up in there, because if it will, yeah, it's snug, but it does go, and I can slide it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack down this a little looser than it was before so that it accommodates that screen mesh. Again, this is very temporary. This is just keeping the critters out until we can start figuring out our final layout and exactly what we're going to do. That allows me to move this, which allows me to put some plastic on this and create sort of a little bit of a barrier to the exterior, but that's going to keep critters and birds out. I got to fill this hole here. Let's cover up this hole. I know, I mean, there's tons of holes up here and gaps, and it's not perfect, but the biggest piece here is literally trying to keep animals out as best as possible. Yeah, good enough. As long as it holds. And there's a pretty big gap there, but again, not perfect, but hopefully that will keep you know, birds or chipmunks from flying straight in and landing. And that covers up most of that big hole for now.
All right, now that we got that window closed up, let's get the rest of this wall deconstructed.
All right, so I really want to get this clean out and possibly all the deconstruction done today. But I'll tell you, when you look up here, I mean, the video helps, but we've been having storms blowing through sporadically, like all afternoon now, and it's just really freaking dark up there. It's hard to see if I'm actually getting shit clean or not. So I brought a few items with me that the idea was sort of as a stopgap. In the not too distant future, we're hoping to get electricity to the barn and then it run up to this building as well. But in the meantime, that might be months from now, who knows? It would be nice to be able to work in here and get things done in the evening or on a gray afternoon where it's rainy and it's hard to see. So I've wired up systems like this before. This is just an old 12-volt car battery. It's not much in the sense of, it's not like deep cycle, it's not some special thing. In fact, this particular battery came from a neighbor who, it was in his car, it wouldn't turn his car over anymore. He got a new battery, it sat there. When I got it, it was like 5 volts. After some pretty harsh conditioning on an old school charger, one of the 10 amp buzz boxes that don't like smart charge anything, it is back up to like 12.8 volts, which isn't, it's that for a battery, that's actually 80% charge, 90% charge. It should be at like 13.1, 13.2. But my experience is that once you hook one of these up to a solar trickle charger and it gets kind of zapped every day for a few hours, it sort of regains its 13-ish charge capability. That's been my experience. I've done a couple of these in buildings that didn't have any power. So I was going to wait until this was all cleaned out, and the plan was to actually put 2 small lights here, sort of one here, one over there. So this room would have light. Do the same here, and then 2 up in the what would eventually be the sleeping loft area, and sort of just do a couple of them, enough that we could have light to work in the evening if we wanted to. But being as it's so dark, and I have easily 2 or 3 more hours of work in me, so I am going to temporarily wire up a DIY 12-volt car battery flashlight, if you will, that I can set upstairs and kind of flood that area with some light so we can get back to deconstruction and cleaning. All right, this is going to be some super DIY low-tech stuff, but it should work. I'm basically just going to use my pen knife to trim off the wire leads. I would go get a proper razor knife to trim this with, but honestly, it's pouring out again, so I don't want to go out there. I just want to work with what I have in my actual, like right here in this building, at least until it stops raining. So the way I was going to do this is sort of, I've got some wire, I've got a spool of wire, and I was going to, you know, sort of just really very, very basic, because like I said, I do want to do something similar to this later, but I'd like it to be a little nicer and a little neater looking and you know, permanent. But for right now, I'm going to take these three that I have right here, and I'm just going to wire them as a cluster and connect them to a tiny lead wire and twist them all together. So here's one, here's two, here's three. I'm literally going to just twist these all together like this. My red from this one, which I hope is basically I'm making a big flashlight. These are meant for like delivery vans and stuff that, you know, you put it in the back of a vehicle, and it just runs off your car battery when the vehicle is running, so it lets you get a little bit of light. And again, this is going to be pretty temporary because, you know, I don't need it in this configuration. Like for the next couple of months, while we're working on this building and kind of renovating it, I think it'll be nice to have some that are sort of wired up to the ceiling, that I literally have some little automotive switches and enough wiring that I can actually run just with a, you know, kind of put these wires up on the ceiling with a stapler, which should be pretty, you know, straightforward. And that way, later, when I want to move them around or make them a little more permanent, it's super easy to take down a pair of needle nose pliers or whatever, and it can tidy it all up and make it more permanent. But this is really, really going to be temporary. It's literally going to be three of these little LED light bars wired together as a cluster. Hopefully this is enough wire that I have here. Again, not trying to be super fancy. I've got a couple of these old car battery terminals, and I was going to figure something out like semi-permanently, but I'm literally going to just do this, push that into place, and this should get super bright. There we go. Boom. Instant flashlight. All right, so pretty dark up here still. We're not having any luck with any sunshine today as far as this portion of the program goes, but let's see what happens. Woo, that's bright. Okay. This again is temporary, so I'm literally just press fitting this into place. It should be fine. I mean, there's really no reason it wouldn't be fine. It's just 12 volt. I'm actually touching the circuit. It is obviously not dangerous. But this should be good for now. As far as like to work, let's see how we look. Ooh, I'm kind of blinded. Yeah, good enough. Let me get this so that it's not blowing out camera. But now if my eyes can adjust. All right, that is obviously considerably better. I think it's time to get back to work. now that I've got the rest of these bin walls deconstructed, and I've got my DIY car battery flashlight to illuminate the situation, I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of this cleared up. I don't really know what's going on here. There's like a bunch of weird stuff. I'm not sure what it is. It's kind of gross, but it's not nearly as gross as all the bird and owl guano. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up. I'm totally masking up for this because this is gonna be dusty. And then once I've got this done, there are some little sort of edge rails that the bins were, in. I guess I'm gonna pull those up. And right now I'm sort of on the fence about these 2x3s or whatever they are. It's hard to say because on one hand, it very much looks like, oh, hey, the sun's coming out. It looks like they were really for nothing more than the bin structure. Just because I don't see signs of them on this side. I don't see like, nail holes here where they would have been on this side. I do see some nails here and there, but they don't really coordinate to where these are positioned. So I don't think this was any sort of structural item for stiffening. I believe that those probably were, and that they were removed on this end because they put up some beams for a hoist here. And I think that either way, I would like to put in cross bracing like this all the way across the roof line with structural screws to give it extra shear and stiffening. But I don't know if there's anything else I need to do up here, or if I can tear out these last couple of 2x3s. Again, there's sort of mixed pieces here. Like here, it looks to be notched in. I feel like these pieces right here that connect this rafter to this rafter are original, and I see them on all of the corners every so many feet. So it feels like that was sort of a structural thing. But honestly, I don't think this was structural. If anything, it looks like they may have trimmed this one out to fit this. I'd really like just to get them all completely gone now, but I'm sort of second guessing myself, and I'm like, well, do I mess with them? I don't want to weaken the building in any way. So yeah, I don't know. If you are a timber framer or a barn builder or Amish, or if you work for Jamaica Cottage Shop and you know this kind of stuff, or if you have experience restoring old barns, let me know, because I'd actually like your expertise. I don't want to do anything that will weaken the structure. I don't think that taking those out will. It doesn't feel like it will, knowing how a post and beam building goes together. And I definitely think that there could be some additional structural pieces that I could add to this, possibly, a brace running along this way and diagonal this way, things that would just add a little bit of rigidity and structure to a building that is pretty old and gets snow load, and I want to be around for another 100 years. So yeah, if you know anything about it, let me know. I'm gonna get cleaning up this last little bit, and then once I'm done that, I'm gonna get everything out of here, and I'm going to use a leaf blower, to blow out this whole floor and try to get every little bit of dirt out of here so that it is clean up here. So that's the plan. All right, well, car battery, flashlight, and all. It's getting pretty dark here. It's dusk, you know. The video always makes it seem super bright, but it's actually starting to get dark, and I need to clean up and lock barns up and things like that. So I think that's going to be it for the day. I feel like I made massive progress. I'm pretty stoked about this. I mean, this was filthy up here. I took all the build outs and got them all deconstructed. There's like one, I think this one's gonna go. But, you know, I'm leaving the ones on the ends. Again, I don't think they're structural, but I'm just gonna leave them because it doesn't hurt anything. I might take this one out and put it down that end because there's no post there. And then tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow I can get in here and do a better job cleaning out. And we're gonna head downstairs and we're gonna deconstruct that center divider wall. And I may even start taking floorboards up on this front part of the building and getting it to where we can, see down through the floor and see up to this top part. We'll see what happens.